Bing boing bing. Everybody has a story to tell with Toddy One Skip. Hey guys, hey guys, this is Everybody Has a Story to Tell with Toddy One Skip, and guess what? We got a story to tell here. Do you know Jesse Weber from Law and Crime? He's on to a big one. He's on to a very big one. Her name is Priscilla Presley, and apparently she goes through more money than me. And a lot quicker, too. Guys, Priscilla Presley has been accused of some awful things, especially when it comes to her daughter and her granddaughter. And for Jesse Weber to talk about it, I'm not saying it's true, but there's got to be something in it. So let's check it out.
Wanted to be the queen. In fact, despite flaunting a public persona that only wanted to protect and keep her family together, Priscilla ultimately wanted one thing: power, no matter the cost. She did anything she could to control her image with the public.
So we're going to find out about this lawsuit that she's up against. But this is a very, serious accusation that her motivation through everything is money and power and control. Is that the Priscilla Presley that you guys know? I was never an Elvis fan. There's a few Elvis songs that I really like. And let me tell you something. I appreciate the man because he is rock and roll. Like, he is rock and roll. He also broke down barriers when it came to black and white music. Obviously, and I think so many of you already know this, but people were shocked to find out that Elvis was a white man. They expected that they were booking a black gentleman for a gig. Nope, that was not the black musician, Elvis Presley. And those that, I don't know if you know or not, just for trivia's sake, Elvis Presley had blonde hair. He used to use shoe polish, black shoe polish, to make his hair that color. And the most popular fact is that they considered his movements vulgar, and they only wanted to record him from his chest up. So imagine if Elvis didn't sway his hips. Imagine, what about the bands that just go even to the more extreme? I mean, Elvis, you got to give credit where credit's due. He definitely let the music sway him, and I think it opened up a freedom for people, a freedom of expression, which was, come on, what a brilliant thing. What a gift, right? So, anyway, yeah, so Priscilla Presley.
Yeah.
I don't know if she still is, but she definitely was a Scientologist. And that didn't go over too well with Lisa Marie. That caused a lot of problems with Lisa Marie. As a matter of fact, Priscilla was known to drop Lisa Marie off at the Big Blue building or one of the Clearwater buildings, one of the Scientology buildings, if not a couple of them, and say, "Fix her for me." So Lisa Marie and Priscilla had always had problems for as long as I can remember. And, again, I wasn't a fan of Elvis's, but I definitely, I lived in this world. I definitely know about his relationship with his daughter and the relationship that Lisa had with her mom. That was tabloid, frabloid bullshit. It was all over. National Enquirer was all over that shit.
So from there, the complaint alleges that there was this tumultuous relationship between Priscilla and her daughter, Lisa Marie. And what you're going to see is this is about money. Okay, that's the main allegation. This is about money. That after Elvis's death in 1977, the complaint says his estate was placed in trust for solely Lisa Marie.
Isn't that something? He left everything for his kid. Everything for his kid. One person to inherit it all.
However, the plaintiffs allege that when Elvis's father, who is the trustee and executor of Elvis's estate, you know, the person who oversees and carries out the duties and functions of the trust, when he was on his deathbed, they allege Priscilla placed a lien on Elvis's property, Graceland.
Now, I had heard that she was very clever, that she was a very smart woman, but that, you know, it's going to come out that she had spent silly, like she's a crazy spender, like an absolute nut job as a spender. But does that make her a smart businesswoman, not being a good saver? There's a conflict there, right? I think that there's kind of like a conflict there, but I don't know. You guys tell me in the comments, what do you think? Because she supposedly lost millions of dollars like that in a very short period of time, but she's the one that opened up Graceland to the public and made it into a business. So, you know.
A lien on Elvis's property, Graceland, forcing her way to become co-executor, and she took over management of the trust. Well, you fast forward to when Lisa Marie turns 25 and she inherits the Elvis estate.
So I remember Lisa inheriting the estate, but the tabloids made it seem like Lisa needed her mom to help with everything because of her inexperience, and she didn't quite know who to trust and what to do. That's what the tabloids said, as inquiring minds wanted to know back then.
They allege in this complaint that Priscilla was dependent upon Lisa Marie, that she, quote, clung to Lisa Marie, despite the accusation that she was resentful of her, that she envied her for always being in the spotlight.
I don't really remember Lisa Marie Presley always wanting to be in the spotlight. You know, I mean, yeah, she had that high-profile marriage to Michael Jackson. Let's go back. That super high-profile marriage to Michael Jackson, and then that high-profile marriage to Nick Cage. And when she was recording her records, but for the most part, I really don't remember her, like, trying to seek out publicity at all.
As I said, this is very personal here, and it's going to be interesting how they intend to prove that. Maybe comments she made, maybe text messages. Also, keep this in mind, I do wonder if it's relevant. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
Well, motivation, so that would be relevant. Definitely a reason for something, right? You know, a motive.
So back to when Lisa Marie apparently came into her inheritance at 25. Well, the complaint states that she ended up setting up her own trust, and it was called the Promenade Trust. And it's a revocable living trust designed to protect Lisa Marie's assets and the inheritance. It's estimated at around $100 million.
That's a lot of money. That is a lot of money. $100 million that she was supposed to get when she was 25 years old.
By the way, a revocable trust, meaning it can be changed, it can be altered. Now, we haven't even gotten, by the way, to the plaintiffs yet and their connection to the case. We will get to that. But the complaint alleges that Priscilla exploited the Presley name.
I believe that. I also believe that that is why she's never been remarried. You know, she was with somebody for a really long time, but she was never remarried so that she could hold on to the Presley name. So I do believe that. But I also heard seriously that she was a very smart businesswoman, and I don't think that's mentioned here. But I don't think Elvis's estate was worth anything like that when he had passed. And I know that he, you know, when somebody dies, their records skyrocket and all of that. But I still think that Priscilla, not that she should take money from her daughter or anything like that, but I do think that Priscilla helped build a lot of that money up. And I don't know, I guess I'm sure she got paid for that. I think that she had a position. So I don't know.
To fund her lifestyle, to live off of what Elvis Presley built. For example, they allege that she demanded $6.5 million in 2005 for personal gain in order to compete against Lisa Marie.
Compete against what? I don't understand. Is that popularity, or is that gain of power over the company? I don't understand that. I mean, they did not have a very healthy relationship. It was tumultuous. Lisa Marie and her mom. That was widely heard. Those rumblings were widely heard. And those that don't know, Priscilla has a son named Navarone Garibaldi Garcia. And to be honest with you, Priscilla didn't even know where the man that she lived with was actually from. He was a con man, and he lived with her for decades, and she didn't even know that. So maybe she wasn't the smartest.
Well, they allege that Priscilla entered into an agreement with Elvis Presley Enterprises, EPS, that is owned by the licensing juggernaut ABG, Authentic Brands Group.
Huge company. Lots of money there.
Now, EPE manages Elvis's IP, name, image, likeness. We'll get to all that in a minute. But this part is important. So in 2010, the complaint states that Lisa Marie ended up listing Priscilla and Barry Siegel, this is Priscilla's apparent longtime financial manager, as co-trustees of the trust.
So it looks like she trusted her mom a bit. Her kids would have been too young at that point, so she needed somebody. I guess she could have hired somebody, but she put her mom and that guy in as
that she set up and executed a medical directive that she wanted her life to be prolonged as long as possible when making end-of-life decisions. That is important in a little bit when we talk about what happened.
Yeah, now that's shocking as these allegations come out more, because what that says is that, you know how some people say, listen, man, just pull the plug. If I'm brain dead, pull the plug. If, my life won't be the same if I won't have use of bodily functions and stuff, just pull the plug. That's not what Lisa Marie was saying. Lisa Marie said, you let me hang on for dear life, to dear life, as long as there is a way for me to hang on to it.
To Lisa Marie, okay? So the plaintiffs claim that Lisa Marie found out that Priscilla and Siegel were allegedly mismanaging her finances, stealing money from her.
If Lisa really felt like her mom was stealing money from her, that has got to be a horrible, horrible feeling. To feel like, because I think that she was getting paid for her position in the company for what she was doing. So if she was taking money beyond that, in fact, she was stealing from her kid and her grandkids. And if that was true, and that can be proven, that's horrific. But if Lisa honestly felt that, that's even worse.
So what does she end up doing according to this complaint? They say Lisa Marie amended the trust, remember, revocable trust, and made herself trustee, and she ended up listing her son Ben and daughter Riley, famous actress, you've probably seen her in a bunch of things, as successor trustees.
So she took that shit right out of her mama's hands.
Now, there's a little bit more background information, a little bit more detail. I'm not going to get into all that. It gets a little complicated. But there is an allegation that Priscilla burned through the money that she received, meaning the $6.5 million. And how by 2021, she was, quote, financially destitute.
That's a lot of money to burn through, Priscilla. What'd you do with that money? We know that she's addicted to cosmetic surgery. Unfortunately, you could look at her and see that. She's all plastic, man. All plastic.
That she owed nearly $700,000 to the IRS.
To the tax man, yay!
We don't know this for sure. Again, this is going to come out during the course of the litigation if it advances.
I'm not here to shame anybody, but that doesn't look normal or natural or anything. It looks like a doll's face. A doll's face that's been dropped a few times. I'm sorry, Priscilla.
But with all of that background, now we finally get to the plaintiffs, Cruz and Fialko. Remember, who are they? How is their connection here? So, they claim that Priscilla approached them. And she approached them to help her with her finances. The strategy was, and this is what it says, that they would, quote, work to exploit her name, image, and likeness, NIL, that Cruz Fialko deployed IP, know-how, and creative marketing to enhance Priscilla's brand.
When you're desperate, you see what happens when you're desperate? Because wait till you see what happens.
That Priscilla licensed her IP rights to a company that was set up by the plaintiffs that would manage all this, that would manage her IP rights, her name, image, and likeness, in order to accomplish this goal of helping her finances to build up her brand. And then it was also sub-licensed to these other companies. Gets a bit tricky, but you understand. It gets a bit technical, but you get the idea.
There's a lot of money involved, and Priscilla sold her soul. That's what happened.
And here's the key. They claim that Priscilla promised a few things in exchange. That she wouldn't compete with this strategy of exploiting her IP rights, that she would reveal to the plaintiffs other business opportunities that came along. The problem is, they claim, the plaintiffs,
drum roll please,
Priscilla never told them that she actually sold her IP rights already, her name, image, and likeness, years before, in 2005, to the company I mentioned before, Authentic Brands Group, that big licensing company.
You can't do that, Priscilla Presley. You can't do that.
You know who would be an important witness at a potential trial? Riley. Why? Listen to this.
Now, Riley was Lisa Marie's oldest daughter, Riley Keough. She's an actress, right? You guys know her. So that's Priscilla's granddaughter. So, you know, Priscilla, when you're fucking with your kid, you're fucking with her kids too. You know that, right?
Quote, when Cruz and Fialko learned about this prior deal, Priscilla repeatedly denied it until Priscilla's granddaughter, Riley Keough, shared the deal with Cruz and Fialko.
I wonder if that was by accident or intentional or if it's even true.
Again, don't know if that's true, but Riley would probably be an important witness at an upcoming trial, or at least a deposition, right? Now, Cruz and Fialko allege, unbeknownst to them, this happened. And yet at the same time, they're working incredibly hard to build up the value of Priscilla's brand.
Yeah, so they want to get paid because they're laying out money. Wow, Priscilla, if this is true, that's fraud, right?
They claim they acted in PR functions, they drafted public statements for her, they were trying to grow her image and brand, that they were doing all of this at the expense of their own businesses, their other businesses. And they claim they invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into Priscilla.
Even with all that plastic surgery that she paid for on her own dime? Wow. Wow.
Now, let's talk about the Elvis movie. Did you see it? Remember that came out a few years ago, starred Austin Butler, huge hit. Well, I am just going to read you verbatim from this complaint about the movie, and then it leads into Lisa Marie's death.
So this is really important. If this is true, this is really despicable.
Okay, it says, Lisa and Priscilla were each planning to attend the 2023 Golden Globes on January 10th, 2023 in support of Elvis. But Lisa had no desire to see or otherwise be near Priscilla. Lisa had been in a long-running dispute with Siegel, and she resented that Priscilla stayed with Siegel.
So guys, there's no loyalty, it seems, on Priscilla's part at all, to be honest with you. I think that Elvis thought and believed Lisa was the apple of his eye. Could it be possible that Priscilla was jealous of her own daughter? Yes, absolutely so. Absolutely so. But you would think after all that time, maybe they'd work it out. But Scientology did not help that situation at all. That I know. Because if you get into the Scientology thing and you hear all of that with Lisa Marie and with Priscilla, yeah, that did not help that situation at all. That fractured that relationship horribly.
Further betraying her trust. Crucially, Priscilla was aware that Lisa was getting ready to remove her as the sole trustee of Lisa's irrevocable life insurance trust and was otherwise threatening to sue her. Cruz and Fialko, nevertheless, worked to keep the family together.
Seemed like Lisa had had enough of her mom, huh?
Working with Priscilla's publicist and arranging for Lisa and Priscilla to walk the red carpet together and sit next to one another at the event.
That was the Elvis premiere.
Lisa was noticeably ill, complaining to Priscilla about her health. Priscilla ignored the warning signs despite being only a short drive from the world-renowned Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. Instead, Priscilla clasped to the spotlight, going out to the Chateau Marmont for drinks with Lisa, and then sent Lisa on a long drive to her Calabasas home.
Now this, my friends, is just speculation. This, that she ignored Lisa's illness. Is Lisa, if she wanted to go to the hospital as a grown woman and she could have said, listen, I can't do this, I need to go to the hospital. I believe that Lisa was probably telling her mom that she wasn't feeling well, but I think that had her mom said, no, let's go for drinks at Chateau Marmont, Lisa, as a grown woman, could have said, you know, Mom, I don't feel good, no. So we don't know the communication between mom and daughter, honestly.
Within just over 24 hours, Lisa suffered cardiac arrest on Thursday, January 12th, and she was rushed to West Hills Hospital. Priscilla, who knew that Lisa was in the process of taking steps to remove her as the sole trustee of Lisa's irrevocable life insurance trust, saw an opportunity to regain control.
Now this is salacious. Whether it's salacious talk or the action is true. Either which way, if Priscilla did this, it's absolutely salacious. Them talking about it and her not doing it is them being salacious by accusing her of such a thing.
Priscilla rushed to West Hills Hospital, and despite Lisa's clear directive to prolong her life, remember I talked about that before, get this, quote, Priscilla pulled the plug within hours of Lisa being admitted.
Now guys, if that's true, that went against Lisa's wishes.
And before her granddaughter, Riley, was able to get to the hospital.
Now, I believe Riley lived in London, and she got on that plane as soon as she could get on that plane in hopes to see her mom, especially before her mom would have passed on. So the fact that Lisa Marie wanted to hang on to every bit of life, if that's true, and she wasn't an organ donor, then Priscilla is 1,000% wrong. If they had to donate organs and Lisa was an organ donor, that's a different story. But if somebody's hanging on to life, it doesn't really seem like they would be an organ donor, but I don't know. But your granddaughter could only say goodbye one time to her mom, and you took that away from her, Priscilla. That is something you're going to have to live with forever if that's what you did.
Demanding that Cruz issue a statement to the media so she could control the narrative.
I remember this statement. I was absolutely floored. Absolutely floored. Lisa was 5 years younger than me, so I did not really expect her to leave the earth so quickly, especially being that we watched her at the award show less than 24 hours before she passed.
Priscilla demanded that a statement be released immediately, stating, "It is with a heavy heart that I must share the devastating news that my beautiful daughter Lisa Marie has left us." And then they claim that the following week, Priscilla allegedly said, "I'm the queen, I'm in charge of Graceland." Cruz and Fialko were heartbroken by the unsettling behavior.
So, and if that's what happened, And Priscilla Presley has behaved in such a way, it's going to come out. It will definitely come out. And it'll be something to watch and something to see. And it will be totally despicable. When is enough enough? When is enough money enough? When is enough power enough? When is enough popularity enough? At the cost of your kid and her kid? Come on. Guys, this is Everybody Has a Story to Tell with Toddy One Skip. If this is true, this is their story. Don't let it be yours. Thanks, guys. See you on the next one. Please like, subscribe, and share. I'd really appreciate it. And thank you for your memberships. Thank you for your Cash Apps, your PayPals. I got some super chats. And thank you so much, guys. I so appreciate it. But subscribing, it really matters. So thank you. Bing, boing, bing. Everybody Has a Story to Tell with Toddy One Skip.